Good evening. Looks like everybody's late tonight. Hi, Walter.
Hi, Daria. Good evening.
Good evening.
Indictment. Aaron Peterson getting back at what he's learned tonight about tomorrow's arraignment.
Okay. We need 5 for a quorum. (6:31). We'll wait just a couple more minutes, and if we don't have a quorum, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. I'm sorry, call the meeting to attention, because I don't want to belabor people who are here on time. Excuse me one moment.
Well, good day. What's the weather like in New York? I'm in California, and it's I'm just helping you pass the time.
Is it still cool out there? Is it still cool?
Well, cool out here is 50.
Yeah.
That's the coldest I've ever seen here.
That's still cool.
Yeah, I mean, for here, I mean, it's normally always 75, so we have this weather. So today it's now it's nice and sunny, but windy today. But it's going to go back up to 75 in the next couple of days, and then we'll be back. But yeah, for the last month, it's been below average temperature. So us weather weenies in California have been cold.
Wow. And half of the people are from cool weather, and they get out there and just totally get soft.
Yep, that's me. I was living in Minnesota 18 years. And now when it gets cold, I see cold, I leave.
That's funny.
Like, what's this? What is this?
That's hilarious.
It's funny.
Okay,
yeah.
So what I'll do, since we do not yet, I don't think we have a quorum yet. Moto G Stylist, are you a community board member? Are you a visitor?
It's Carlton.
Who? Sorry?
Carlton.
Technically on the committee, but I always include you because of your input.
Can you hear me?
Your interest in health. Thank you. Hey, Monica. Monica was a co-chair also. Okay, Monica.
Where is that coming from? Okay. All right. Now the board members are coming in. Okay. So Carolina, me, Jonathan, Walter.
How you doing?
Yeah, no, you're doing that.
Can you hear me?
Who is Moto G? Is that's Carlton?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do you have the health committee in your background?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to mute you, my dear.
Yeah, I just want to let you know I'm here.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
That gives us a quorum, so I will. Jonathan, we don't have anybody to do the minutes.
No, I'm doing them. I'm doing them.
Okay.
Let's move on. Yeah.
Okay, so I will call the meeting to order at 6:35. And here's the agenda, committee members. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
And among the questions that remain.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I second.
Okay, moved by Walter, seconded by Jonathan. We don't have the minutes from last meeting, I don't believe. So we're going to move on to introductions. Introductions is just a time for us, because the community board is so much about collaboration with the community. We like to do a quick intro of everyone's in the room, because basically, because we can help each other and collaborate. This is not the time for your presentation. As a matter of fact, if you're going to present, we prefer to kind of hear about you, or maybe a little about your organization, but please do not take this time to make your presentation, or else I will interrupt you. No offense, but it's not the time for that. But we really do want to know who everyone is. I will start. My name is Daria Hardiman. I am co-chair of Arts and Culture. I'm originally from Ohio, been in New York and in West Harlem since 1997. I am a performing and visual artist by trade. Actor, singer, and photographic artist. What else? I guess that's it. It's just easy breezy. And when you are finished introducing yourself, please choose who will be next. And I will actually stop sharing for that reason. And so I choose my co-chair, Jonathan Senega, to go next.
Thanks, Daria. Good evening, everyone. I've been a member of the community board for about 4 years. I am an architect. I live in CB9 and living here for about 40 years. So most of my practice is in community development, so around the East Coast. So that's a little bit about me. Walter, take it away.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Walter T. Alexander. A member of this board, of this committee. I've been on the board for about 5 years now, almost 5 years. My background in arts is my voice. Let's see, I'm a Harlem resident, born and bred since 1954, and I'm proud to say that. And I love the arts in the community, and I love doing arts in the community. And I'm going to give it to Miss Tina.
Hi, my name is Tina Lumley, and I am a member of CB9. I've resided in Harlem for 11 years, born and bred in New York City. I'm a former actress, and I love the arts, and I love bringing people together and sharing information. And with that, I will stage Aurora, New York admin.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carly. I work for Stage Aurora, New York. We're a theater company originally based in Jacksonville, Florida, and we recently got our 501c3 in New York a couple years ago. We're just looking to learn more about West Harlem and how to bring our theater to that community. So thank you for having us. I'll choose Moto G Stylist 5G.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Carlton Davis. I'm a member of CB9 Arts and Culture. Also, I co-chair with Walter for Senior Issues Committee. I have a diverse background, DJing, rapping, doing producing and doing a lot of events. And I'm here to support however I can and be there when you need me.
And who do you choose? Carlton.
I'm trying to
who do you choose?
I don't know who's all here.
You can't see the
Jonathan?
I already did my bit. How about
Jay Van Bruin? Is Jay there?
Yep.
Jay Van?
Yep.
Yes. Oh, I was muted. Hello.
Yep.
Hello.
Hey, I'm Jay Van Buren. I'm a guest here, going to be presenting later on along with Gaidi. And my background is actually originally in fine art, and then I got into technology, and now I'm an augmented reality expert. I lived in New York City for 25 years and just moved to California 6 months ago. So that's me. And I'll pick Gaidi to go next.
Hello there, I'm Gaidi. I'm executive director of the San Diego African American Museum of Fine Art. Individually, they call me an art warrior. I make art happen. And so the museum itself is a museum without walls. And we have recently done an exhibit in Central Park called Say Their Names. And having done that, I had the idea to bring back more art to New York, specifically in Harlem. And we'll be presenting that later on.
Thank you. Who do you choose, Gaidi?
Is there anyone else who hasn't been chosen?
Carolina.
Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, Carolina.
Carolina, are you there? Okay, we'll come back to her. Juan.
Hi, how are you? I'm sorry I'm late. I was running around, but I'm here. My name is Juan Colmenares. I'm a high school teacher in Harlem. I moved into Harlem in 1993 when all of you were 3 or 4 in pre-K. And I loved it ever since. I have a huge amount of history in this community. I taught at my high school since 2004, and I love it. I bike and I run, and Riverside has become my new spot, That's it. I hope I can be of service.
Thank you. Carolina, are you there? Okay, we will move on. Announcements. The announcement that I make all the time, every month, is for anyone who's trying to reach CB9 Arts and Culture. I just want to make sure that everyone has our contact information because we are a volunteer organization. That's part of the reason why we have co-chairs. So there are 2 people to sort of stay on everything because this is not our full-time job. Because of that, we do request that anyone trying to reach us, trying to reach the committee, would please use 3 emails. And they are both the co-chairs individually and then the CB9 Arts and Culture email. And they are as follows, and they'll end up in the chat by the end of this. Mine is daria@yahoo.com. Jonathan is jonathan.senagub1@gmail.com. And also cb9arts@yahoo.com. So I just want to say that for the record, and so that anyone reaching us will know how to. Also, if you're presenting and you are a WHDC grantee, you will please use all 3 email addresses when contacting us. Jonathan, did you have any announcement?
No, no, not a, no.
Okay. So we'll move on to our committee reports. Jonathan, did you want to jump in, or you want me to? How are you feeling?
Regarding the West Harlem Arts Alliance, I think that just briefly, West Harlem Arts Alliance was created through the efforts of this committee, community board, and West Harlem Community Development. It's a 501c3. It's just in its first year, but it was established to promote and to represent artists and art organizations in West Harlem. They have a board of directors. The founding director is Michael Palma. Another member is Michael Unthank. They have a website that's just forming, and they're just now looking for office space so that they can hire an assistant to kind of follow up on and connect with, sort of promote the organization and kind of connect to establish an artist and art organization database. So that's where we're now they're just getting their act together, so to speak. And hopefully by the end of the year, they'll be more engaged, active in the community. So that's West Harlem Arts Alliance.
Okay. And the any news on the I guess your quick information about the CBA.
Well, I can just touch upon that briefly. The Community Benefits Agreement was established prior to Columbia beginning development of Manhattanville campus. And in the agreement, there are a number of provisions providing resources for the community. It varies from economic development to arts and culture. What pertains to arts and culture is the establishment of more exhibit and performance spaces. These commitments are tied to the progress of the development. So many of these spaces won't be realized for several years. However, in discussions with Columbia Forum, for example, there are opportunities for local artists to exhibit and perform in various spaces that are Columbia owned. These are sort of negotiated vis-a-vis this committee or community board and the representatives from Columbia. Parallel to this, Columbia has established the community council, Columbia Community Council, which is an outreach to the community and has a number of committees. This is less than a year old. It's mostly populated by Columbia affiliates, faculty, and you can best understand this organization if you go to Columbia Neighbors, which is a website that lists all the various committees and actions taken by Columbia. The community board is not directly engaged in this effort, but we are consulted on various efforts by Columbia and the outreach by Columbia in the neighborhood. So that's sort of an overview of what's available to artists in CB9 and arts organizations. So if you have any questions, you can send an email to myself or Daria, and we'll be glad to respond.
Thank you, Jonathan.
That's about it. Yeah.
Thank you. If I might add, just piggyback, the Columbia consults us sometimes. Which is the reason that Jonathan is kind of our eyes and ears with the community benefits agreement, the CBA as we call it. It is a document that was originally written by the community board, actually, on behalf of our community, because Columbia has taken so much eminent domain. And so Columbia gave us, I think, $250 million over a 30-year period or something like that, along with the benefits that Jonathan mentioned. There is also the West Harlem Development Corp funding is part of the community benefits agreement. So those of you who are fundees, grantees are benefiting from it. We keep a good eye on it, though, because there are time limits to some of the benefits, and they are vast. For a lot of different parts. In terms of the funding, most of that does go to arts and culture, which we're happy about. However, there are some things that have already expired and were never utilized because the community just doesn't know about them. So we bring this up, and Jonathan keeps a good eye on it, because we are encouraging everyone to know more about it and to ask questions and to request the things that are due us, because otherwise they just come and go, and we just gave land away and were due things that we never got. So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you.
Okay. And I don't want you to have to talk too much, Jonathan.
Thanks.
So next is the Artist Information Dissemination Subcommittee updates. Walter and Tina, please.
Let's see. This month we sent out about 5 or 6 communications to our distribution list. The information is still pertinent for April. Is Representative Adriano Espaillat.
Adriano Espaillat.
All right, go ahead. He announced launching the Congressional Art Competition for high school students, and the information was provided in the flyer. The information was provided in the email, and that's due by Monday, April 24th for high school students. Uptown Stroll. There's a poster content, and that's due by, that was due by April 2nd. So that one has passed. Jazzmobile, Omar Edwards is performing later on this month. And that information was sent out earlier this month. And last but not least, There is a show with a timely discussion that is scheduled this month that is being hosted by BTU. And if you're not on the distribution list and you would like to be, please include your email, name of organization, your name, and your position. And if you'd like, you can also include your telephone number. We as well are trying to get a roster of the artists and the arts organization in West Harlem. Does anyone have any questions? That's it.
Quick addendum on, I just sent something out from National Black Theater. They're having an artist residency for those that wish to apply. So I think everybody who's on our email blast should have gotten a copy within the last hour or so. And I can forward it to anybody else who would like to get it as well.
That's called hot off the press.
I like that, Tina.
Thank you. Also, anyone who is here presenting, if you would not mind, please put your contact information in the chat so that you can be on our, we're always trying to gather artists and arts organizations for informational reasons, for every reason. So if you wouldn't mind, we would appreciate that. Next thing on the agenda is the RKO task force. And I don't know, committee members, if you all got notification, but we just got notification that Alana will be on leave of absence for the next couple of months. So Walter, are there any updates at all for RKO?
Dan Cohen came to the last general board meeting, and I chatted with him while meeting was in process, and he said there are no updates, and that's kind of sad because the theater on 90th Street and the Metro Theater, they started, after all these years, they started doing their renovations. So I hope that we can get the ball rolling. If Dan is gonna, I think he's on a leave, on an unofficial or official leave of absence. If not, maybe I can just pick up the ball and run with it to see where we are, because I really haven't had any updates from him in quite some time.
Okay. And just for anyone who doesn't know, RKO Theater, Hamilton Palace, is on the corner of 146th Street and Broadway. The community board has sort of led a push to have it redeveloped into possibly a cultural center, and hopefully with some housing, either affordable housing and or artist housing in that building. It's going to take millions of dollars to do. The developers are very open to community ideas. They had a setback during, it was kind of moving forward. We were having tours of the building and a lot of talks. We had a community forum to discuss things that could possibly go in there. We've also connected with them with Classical Theater of Harlem, who was getting ready to do a $10 million building project. And Classical Theater was very excited, thinking, wow, this may be a great idea. They couldn't use the entire facility. So of course it would be a shared facility, but they'd be the base there. But which is again why we have a subcommittee that's keeping an eye out. They had a setback during COVID, I believe, or maybe right after someone passed away, one of them. And it's sort of been just up in the air since then. So we're on it, and we hope that you will keep your ear to what we're doing. Hi, Ewan. Ewan?
Hi.
Hi.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I just caught the tail end of Alexander's report, and I'm wondering, could the committee get a report, the last report from Dan, and share it with everyone, just so we know where he left off? And I would also recommend, since Dan is on a leave of absence and chose to leave without giving a full update, I would suggest that we invite the developers and get an up-to-date status from the horse's mouth. And what else I was going to say? And you know, you gave a very complete synopsis of the community board's involvement, but I just want to say that, you know, we don't own the building. No, the community doesn't have control over the building. From what I remember, the developers don't own the building. They had an agreement to come up with some recommendation within a certain period. So we don't know if the control of that site has expired. We don't know if the Ashkenazi people even want to sell the lot. So everything, all this time has been spent on suppositions. So
well, there actually has been you know, real conversation at this point. Like you said, we don't know what is expired and what hasn't. Dan did come to us, was it December or January, Jonathan? I think he was here, and he did give all the update he had, which was actually not much more than what we had.
Right.
They've just sort of, I think that's a really good idea, Ewan, to invite the developers.
If I can chime in here.
To have this on hold, and we can decide if pursuing this. It would be great if we brought it to some conclusion, but we're left hanging. So I think since we didn't get it from Dan, then it's on us to pull all the pieces together and get it directly from the source, and then make a decision as to what the next step will be.
Can I just add, Ewan, that calling in the developer, the two developers, probably won't be very helpful. These developers build housing. They're not into historic renovation, and they're not into theaters, so on and so forth. From what I gathered from Dan, is that the owner, Ashkenazi Group, is willing to entertain some proposal. Where this sort of kind of stopped was what is needed, what is desperately needed at this point, is a existing conditions survey. I talked to Dan about this several times, and that Classical Theater of Harlem, I believe, was willing to put up some money. WHDC was holding some money for this effort pending the commitment by the Classical Theater. And that's where this whole thing kind of froze.
Yeah.
And let me just say, Ewan, now let me finish. So the thing is that if anybody is to pick this up, they have to address the reality that's there with this building. They have to get an existing conditions survey from a reputable engineer and architectural firm. The developers will not do this. They will not. And so and the owner will not. So it's on WHDC, the community board, and whoever else can muster the energy to put this together. It probably will cost in the neighborhood of $150,000 to $200,000 to execute this survey. But you cannot go forward without it. No one will. No developer will. So that's where it was left. That's my 2 cents.
And yes, Jonathan, and when we spoke to Classical Theater of Harlem, what Ty, their director over there, actually said was they were told by WHDC that if they got, I believe, 75%, if they got some percentage of it, in my head it's 75-25. I'm not sure which had the 75 and which side had the 25. They were told by West Harlem Development Corp that if they came up with the percentage, that they would give them the rest of the money. However, once they went to the board and got the okay for that percentage, then WHDC said, well, you have to use that money first before we'll give the money. It just, I'm baffled by that part, because I'm not sure.
Well, the state also does that. You know, it will give you a grant, but it's a matching grant, and they don't give you the money until you've spent your part of the matching grant. I guess they want to make sure that there's some commitment, but the state does that.
But how does that work? I mean, Jonathan, that's your business. So how do you only give whoever is going to do the survey part of the money? Like, how do you do that?
Right. I mean, I think that, you know, I've only come in and out of the process here. Kind of Walter, Alexander, or Alana probably know more. But, you know, I think that you have to have everybody sit down at the table, all these interested parties, classical theater, WHDC, and representative from the owner, which he's appeared. I mean, they've had tours of the site. So, but someone has to continually follow up and put, not pressure, but kind of coordinate all this. Mm-hmm. But yes, if there's commitments made and classical theater, who has a very experienced design team, they can commit to spending their portion, then others would kind of follow, and perhaps even from the electeds, you know, that all these could be brought to bear on moving this forward. Mm-hmm. So that's what I think should happen. We all need to sit down, you know, the interested parties need to sit down and outline a plan of action for this existing condition survey. That's the first step. Forget about what follows.
I think that perhaps we should, or perhaps we could, because here's the problem that happens with the community board. The community thinks that we should go do something. Not necessarily you, Ewan, because you're around and you understand how it all works. But I constantly say on purpose that we are a volunteer organization. We're just community members, just like everyone else, who are trying to get stuff done, you know, bring stuff in for the community, but we are just community members, just like everyone else. And perhaps we could at least spark, like Jonathan was saying, Jonathan and Ewan were saying, perhaps we could spark someone from the community to sort of take the lead. I mean, we're here every month and we're checking into it and doing all that we can, but there has to be more of it. There, you know, the one person on the community board who was taking the lead on this is now on leave of absence, so it's just kind of dead in the water. But like this place could benefit this community in so many ways, particularly the arts and culture demographic, but everyone, with the housing piece and all the organizations, every artist and art organization in this community could benefit from that space. We were talking about a black box theater, at least a black box, and possibly a more possibly restoring, or at least partially restoring, the original theater that's in there, the historic theater that's in there. Having space, there was talk of having rehearsal space, having possible space for internet stuff. So artists and arts organizations that are here, we invite you to make noise, to join with us, to invite us to something, because we really got to do something. That we cannot leave this. We could, and it could happen, but I really would love to see this moving. So, Ewan, is that a legacy hand, or you had something else? Okay, maybe she stepped away. Okay, so we're going to move on. I don't see Northern Manhattan Arts Alliance, so we are going to go right into our presentations. And our first presentation is San Diego African American Museum of Fine Art, Gaidi Feeney?
Penny like penny. Penny like a penny.
Penny.
Yeah, so as I said earlier, we recently did the Say the Names exhibit in Central Park, and it was bizarre because I went through all kinds of changes trying to find out how to do it with the conservancy there, with Park and Rec and all of that. Finally, they said, because it's augmented reality, you don't have to do anything, just go do it. I said, oh, no. So that's when I contacted Community Group 10. And so they were a supporter. And they also are a supporter for this particular project that I'm going to tell you about now. The Harlem Augmented Reality Walk of Honor project, presented by the San Diego African American Museum of Fine Art in collaboration with other cultural institutions and partners, will create a permanent, ever-growing, interactive, augmented reality display that honors African American contributions to culture, to science, business, and the arts, and the places where those contributions happened in Harlem. The Walk of Honor will not only be a major tourist attraction that will become a standard part of guided tours in the neighborhood, it will also provide inspiration to future generations by holding up exemplars of the best and brightest of the Harlem community, past and present. With that, I'd like to demonstrate two of the clips that we've already done. Jay, you take it.
All
you
right.
need to share your screen?
I do.
Okay. Should be.
Try. All right, now, hopefully the sound will come through for this. So you guys will have to tell me if you are hearing this.
We can see it so far.
All right.
The Harlem Walk of Honor will show visitors and residents of Harlem the history of this singular neighborhood using the magic of augmented reality. Visitors will download the Membit app and choose the Harlem Walk of Honor channel. In this experience, visitors can see an historic photo of the Cotton Club,
Now here's a story about Minnie the Moocher.
Read about the club and hear the music of Cab Calloway, who played there, right in the exact place where it happened.
But Minnie had a heart as big as a hay whale. Howdy, howdy, ho. Howdy, howdy, ho.
Wow.
Next.
And then
one more.
We got the next one. All right. This one also got share sound. Okay. Hopefully this will work. All right.
So there you have a couple of examples of augmented reality and how it would work. The idea is to work with the community there to choose which are the initial monuments that will place. We're working closely with the Schomburg, trying to set up a meeting with the Harlem Chamber of Commerce coming up this week. We always got a letter of support from the Community Group 10. And it was actually the Schomburg that said we should try to also contact you folks in Community Group 9. And so I set out trying to do so. So we're looking at trying to present this in the fall to start with, and then add people every year. Again, we would not be the ones adding them or suggesting who it would be. That would come from the community. We'll take some questions now.
Any questions?
Do you like it? Don't like it?
I love it.
That's fabulous. It's great.
I have a question. It's funny because I had a similar idea years ago, like because when I moved to Harlem, I was like, all these the church next door to me, which has now been torn down, is the church where Malcolm X's funeral was held.
Mm-hmm.
And it was held there because nowhere else would take it. Everybody else was afraid to take it. And now it's an empty lot.
Mm-hmm. We would put it back. We would put that right back where it was. Yeah.
It is like, I just thought about plaques saying, you know, this happened here, but you just took it to a whole nother, I am, wow. I just want to jump up and down and cheer. The
funny thing is that the reason that we show the clips is because when you see the clips, you get it. Many times you can talk about this as much as you want, and you still don't get it. But when you see the clips, you go, wow, just like you. It happens every time when you see how it works. So it's a wonderful way to bring back some of the history. And also, we want to involve students in doing learning projects and lesson plans with teachers to come in and show kids how to do it, either remotely in the classroom or bring them on a tour of the Harlem area and see all these things in person. So that's our hope.
And you know what? I kind of knew what you were talking about because they have a tour like that in Rome. Somebody was doing it in Rome.
Okay.
That I didn't get to take. And so you're actually the first time I actually get to see, like, I've heard about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're like, are you doing this anywhere else? And I'm sorry, I'll stop. I'm just too excited. I'll let.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You do it in New York and you make it, right? And it's successful. We have been doing these sort of things. We have something in San Diego. There was a Harlem of the West in San Diego, believe it or not, that we will highlight in the future. And we'll do other potential. We've got a lot of requests for this sort of thing, but Harlem and New York is where it should start, and everything else should come after that.
I love it. Jonathan?
Just a couple of quick questions. One, the Community Board 10, did you get a letter of support from them?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes.
So are you asking for a letter of support from Community Board 9?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Which he submitted a draft, which I have neglected to bring up.
So with this letter of support, I don't see any problem here because it's fantastic what you're doing.
It is fantastic.
How would this work? How do you see this going forward? How would this work?
Yeah, so this is going to cost a lot, by the way. And so I have to go and raise the money and also put together the communities to support it. So it's coming from Harlem, not from an organization in the West Coast. So it's important to me is to gather the support of the various organizations and people in Harlem to know about this. Marketing and all that stuff will have to happen. But we want it to be Harlem is about, we're all a part of Harlem. All over the country, we all have an aspect of Harlem inside of us. And so I want that kind of connectivity to be part of this and make sure I get enough people and ground support to let it grow, because I feel like we would do this every year, would add another 4 or 5, because there's so many places in Harlem that need to be recognized and brought up about this. And these are permanent exhibits. It's not temporary. This will always be there. And you could add on to them. You could add voices and people and all kinds of ways we can enhance this.
And
but the
video,
start is,
you can add video too.
Yes, and also to add video. So we could do all of that with this, but it really right now is gathering support so that we have the competence and people understand that this is not a fly-by-night thing. We've done it before. It's not something new for us. So it really is about gathering support right now as we try to raise money. I've had meetings with Chase Bank already, and there's some others I'm looking at trying to get funding for this, but it's not, it's innovative and new, but it also spendy.
Right.
This is wonderful. Could you tell me where you expect to be showing these clips?
Yes, they will be in places like the Cotton Club will be right where the Cotton Club is. The church that was mentioned earlier will be right where it is. So you'll be touring these places, and we'll have some guides potentially in the future to tell you where it is, but they'll be all over Harlem where these things have happened, either with people who you want to honor, could be Adam Clayton Powell or something like that, or places like the Savoy, right? Those will be where they were before. We'll bring them back.
Are you going to like use LinkedIn, Link NYC? Where exactly are you going to see these clips? I'm just trying to envision.
Yes. So how it works, there is an app that you have to connect on your phone. The app will have a map as to where all of these are, and you can walk it yourself and go to these places where they are, right?
Oh, wow. Could you please put your information, including your email address, in the chat?
It's already there.
Okay, I guess
I got it, Tina. I got it.
Cool, wonderful. This is something that I think would be great on Link NYC, especially, in places in Harlem.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I agree. Sure. That's what I mean by getting support from all organizations.
You mean like those video screens that we're talking about?
Those kiosks.
So what we would do, I think, if we could get if we could get them to do it, is what we would do is put videos on there that promoted this, so that said, like, here's this thing, you should do it, go, if you walk a block that way and you're going to see this thing, and just use that as a way to promote it. And that's one of the things Gaidi's trying to raise money for too, is for to pay for advertising, because that would be something you'd want to do, is get the word out, let everyone know about this.
How long do you envision these at the completed pieces being?
They are permanently there.
And that's the thing. That's what you can do with augmented reality that you can't do with like a museum exhibit, because the museum exhibit has to get out of the way for the next one, right?
Sorry, I'm not being clear. I don't mean, I mean, how long are the segments themselves?
Each piece, they could be from 1 minute to 2 minutes. Depends. If you add, you can keep adding things on, and history, and you can have a lot more things. But they shouldn't be very long. You want people to have the attention span, but say a
That's
minute.
why Link NYC, you might want to pursue it.
I will. No, anything you can help, anything that you guide me through, I will look after it to make this successful. So that's a good suggestion, and I'll look into it.
Do you know what Link NYC is?
I've not heard of it, but Jay has, so we'll talk about it.
Yeah, there are these kiosks around town, around Harlem, that have.
It's around New York. It's not New York. It's just not Harlem. It's just New York.
Oh, it's all New York?
Yeah, it's promoted by the city of New York.
So they're like they're kiosks where they took, at first they were kind of like taking the place of where the payphones used to be, except they're an electronic screen. And right now they have art. Sometimes they do have historic facts. Sometimes they have health things. So it would be right up the alley of what you're doing. Sorry?
They're run by the city, right?
Yes, they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I think that'd be a great place to advertise. I mean, that's, that would be fantastic, but it doesn't substitute for the actual experience that you do on your phone, because what's really,
it would just be to advertise.
Just be to advertise.
So that people would know, if people are in an area and there's this fabulous thing they could do just by, downloading the app, especially, there are a lot of tourists up here. Some of them are on tours, and then some people are just wandering around, and even people who live here don't know that next door in this empty lot is where they had Malcolm X's funeral, because nobody else would have it. You know what I mean? There are so many places like that. It would be so good for even the kids. Just amazing in so many ways. Walter.
This is so fabulous. I've seen it in other venues. I didn't know exactly how it was funded and how it worked, but I think the first obvious thing is WHDC, because that's where the funding stuff comes from, Harlem. So that should be a good starting point as far as funds is concerned.
Say that again. What was that? What was that?
West Harlem Development Corp, WHDC.
Those benefits that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I'll type it in the chat so you have it as well.
Yeah.
And I would also think maybe the app would have like a cost as well, because this is something. And then you have a wealth of folks who've been in Harlem for a long time, myself included. And we have things that we know. Years ago, the Daily News used to do in their centerfold, play old pictures of what's there now and what used to be there. And so a lot of folks are still around who knows where the Savoy Ballroom, who knows where a restaurant was, like that's what's the one that served the chicken and the waffles on 7th Avenue. Yes, you know what I'm talking about.
Wells,
so Wells, right. So it's like a wealth of stuff up here, and as Daria said, that tourists come up here every day. What a way to bring them into what really is happening up here. This is a fabulous idea. I hope that funding, don't forget like the Ford Foundation and all those biggie folks and Google and those folks who throwing out money to the Amazon folks and just giving away money left and right. Because this is something that really should be promoted, and I think it's really a fabulous idea.
Thank you.
All right. And please, come on our meeting as you can if you have updates, so we can share information as what's going on, because we do have I've sent you're on my email blast now, but I'd like to add the other artists, folks that are within our district, and we can expand that as well.
Very good. Thanks. Yeah, I'll do that.
Upward. That is so fantastic, man.
So how did somebody in San Diego, you know what? I'm gonna let everybody else ask their questions first, and then we'll come back. Ewan, you had a question.
Yeah, I have a question. Can you explain the model for this product, please?
You mean the business model?
Yes.
So Membit sells channels, and so like for example, when we did the Say Their Names channel that Gaidi's organization did, his organization paid for the channel, and the within the channel, that's a branded space. So you go, so people tapped on, say their names, and then they only saw on the map the augmented reality content that Gaidi's museum had created, and they could go there and they could have that experience. And then another example is Village Preservation. They're down in Greenwich Village.
Yeah,
they have a little, they have a history tour. So they paid for the channel to have that history tour available. And basically the channel is like a container for a certain kind of augmented reality experience. So in this case, people would choose the channel for the Harlem Walk of Honor, and then they would be able to see the map, and they would be able to see the list, and they would be able to go and experience all these places. But I also think there's an additional model for the Harlem Walk of Honor that we want to do, where there can be sponsorships both of the entire experience, and there can also be sponsorships that are for each stop. So you might see a certain station that was sponsored by, you know, there may be just like something off to the side that says, you know, this location sponsored by so-and-so. And one of the other things we want to do is reach out to local businesses. So there might be a restaurant and they might say, hey, you know, we love that you're learning about Harlem history. And since you came to this spot and you learned about this particular thing that happened in this spot, you get you know, coupon for a free cup of coffee. I don't know. I mean, I'm just making something up right now, but you see what I'm saying? Like basically where the businesses could basically support the tour, and they could help both get the word out and then also potentially benefit from the fact that there's more foot traffic.
So the idea really is to include all of Harlem in this, so everybody's proud of it and have some skin in the game, so to speak.
Yeah. Actually, it's the product that's supporting the businesses. But so Greenwich Village Preservation, they've subscribed a channel. Is
you can go see it.
Huh?
You can go see it.
Yeah, I will, but I'm on my phone. That's why I can't interact quickly with Daria, because I don't know how to do the settings on my phone. I'm not on my computer. I have another Zoom call going. But so the Greenwich Village subscribes to that channel, and they work with you to create the content on that channel. So how does it get to the person that's walking around? Do they then have to pay for the download, or?
No, it's all free. They just get the app and download the app, and then you're good to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And is it a one-use thing, or?
No, whenever you want to use it, it's all the time and permanent.
All right. Okay. And what is the subscription for a channel?
There's no subscription. It's just a channel. There's no subscription.
No, you just said that the Greenwich Village Preservation,
you mean how much do they pay for it? I mean, it's that for that, that's a complicated answer. I mean, it depends. Yeah. Depending on the channel, you know, anywhere between a few $1,000s to a few tens of thousands, depending on the number of you know, people who are going to be seeing it and what kind of content's in it and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty hard, you know, depending on how many people are going to see it. If it's is it password protected?
It can be. So channels can be private or public. You know, in the case of the channels that Gaidi's talking about doing, they're all going to be public. But we have other customers who have private channels. Someone has to be logged in, and that they have to be a member of the channel in order to see it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Carly.
Yes, hello. I think it's fabulous. I was curious about, I saw you included Lilius White. Yes. Are you looking to, when you say you're looking to add videos, do you mean of the artists in particular and having them like perform?
Or? You can add those things. as time goes by if you want to. Right now, the reason I chose Lilius, in fact, when she got her Tony Award, I walked the red carpet with her. She's a good friend.
Oh, wow.
And but so I thought she would be helpful in this introduction of the exhibit. But yeah, so there'll be images of people, and we'll also be honoring places, both people and places. And as time goes on, if we want to enhance it, add to it, and that kind of thing, we could do that in the future. But for right now, we're just getting the basics. And like I said, we'll do like 15 and then add some every year with a celebration as we do it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Jonathan.
Yeah, just a couple of quick questions. Do you, number one, do you intend to establish a 501c3 in New York City, in Harlem, to do that?
Well, we are a 501c3, and we're looking potentially at a partner with the 501c3 if we have to have that in New York.
Well, the reason I ask is that we mentioned before the community benefits agreement, and there is a section for arts and culture that covers legacy sort of efforts, or kind of organizations in West Harlem. So what you're really doing is highlighting the legacy of Harlem and West Harlem. So I know it was mentioned before, West Harlem Development Corporation, but I would say that there would be funds available if you could establish a local connection and thereby perhaps make funds available through the CBA or even the Upper Manhattan Empowerment Zone that has grants to arts organizations. So
yes, that's brilliant, Jonathan. And in fact, we also had the same thoughts too. Yeah.
I don't know how brilliant it is.
It is.
What I'm encouraging you to do is to establish this connection. Now, earlier in the meeting, I mentioned the West Harlem Arts Alliance, which is a 501c3 established for many purposes, one of which could be to facilitate something that you were doing. So I know Victor Edwards is here with us tonight, and so he's kind of familiar with my spiel. But I think that if you can make these local connections, your efforts, you could probably find a good source of funding.
Very good.
That's it.
That's much appreciated. And let's see, Darius had started a question about how it came from San Diego. Well, when we went to New York to do the Say the Names in Central Park, and we had our reception at the Schomburg, and then the opening reception in Central Park itself, we were so welcomed. And I felt so warm and so part of Harlem history, if you will. And I thought, what else can we do here? What else would make sense? And Jay was the same way, thinking, how else can we expand on this relationship, being that Harlem is part of all of us? And so we both had a similar idea about the Harlem Walk of Honor. We called it the Walk of Fame just for a while. And then we thought about, wait a minute, it can't be like that. Let's do this. So it really came from when we were there. But I am from Jersey, by the way. I grew up there. So, and went to school at NYU for a short period of time. So I'm an East Coaster living on the West Coast, but it was just seemed to me that this was the right thing to do in the right place to do it, to honor those places that are just being gentrified and forgotten. So I wanted to do our part as part of the Harlem community on the West Coast to really make this happen and make it work for the Harlem community and for the community of the United States.
Amazing. And the perfect time as well.
Yes.
I've been in Harlem for 25 years, and I still don't know where the original Cotton Club was. So you just told me something just from the video. Victor, hey. You are muted, sir.
How's that?
There we go. Gotcha.
Okay, yeah, my computer went down, so I had to jump on my phone. I just wanted to contribute a few thoughts. I've been speaking with Gaidi several times about this project, and I just think it's a fabulous project, well needed. I spoke to some friends and tourists recently that walked 125th, and they were truly disappointed when they walked 125th because they know the history that people talk about. Only they saw the Apollo. They didn't see the history that's there, and I think this is a great way for people visiting the city and for people that live here as well to see what took place and going back to a lot of these things that I've been in New York all my life. There's things that I didn't see growing up that I would love to see through this augmented reality. I'm wholeheartedly behind it. And as far as Jonathan talking about the CBA, I think that's a great area. I met with the executive director recently, and I talked about the arts and the need to expand on that in our community in particular. I think this would be an excellent way to do it. So I thank you, Gaidi, again for your efforts and for the committee for hosting on Gaidi this evening. Thank you.
Thank you for the introduction, Victor.
You're welcome.
Gaidi and Jay, I hope that you will stay with us because I actually have something else in just a minute with the Harlem Arts Alliance that might benefit what you're doing as well, that we're going to talk about shortly.
Sure.
Okay.
So were there any more questions for Gaidi and Jay? Okay. So Gaidi was kind enough to share a draft. He made our lives easy of a letter of support. And this is it. It's, it basically just tells what they've been doing and shows our support. I would like to actually gush a little bit more before the ending of it, but is there a motion to support this letter of support with tweaks?
Daria,
yes.
Gaidi, could you send us a Word document?
He emailed it to me and I just put it on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just there because my email, I didn't want to just have my email open.
Oh, okay. I got it. All right. So I would support a letter of support. So
that's the motion.
that's the motion and I think we need to tweak this a little bit, but I think it's good. Yeah.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Seconded
by Tina.
Tina, yes. Okay, then I will stop my share and I will thank you all. That the motion is there. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it has been moved and seconded unanimously from Arts and Culture to have a letter of support for this incredible project. And we thank you so much. Again, Victor, we thank you for the introduction, and Gaidi and Jay. This is incredible. Incredible.
And needed.
Like it fills so many holes in heart. It just like Victor was saying, there are things that you come here longing to see that don't exist anymore. And to be able to actually walk up to a spot and see, like, oh, it's gonna be amazing. And I think it's gonna add to tourism and everything. Like we need to be getting you funding from everywhere. And I really, if I know you in California and I know it's the middle of your day, but please do keep in touch with us, because I really want to, whatever little weight that we can put behind, whatever you're trying to do, I definitely would like to support.
Another thing you may want to consider in Harlem, there's some wonderful, beautiful murals. And if you can just get a listing of all of them and get the footage, it'll prompt people to go there.
So the next thing on I'm sorry, I lost my agenda, y'all.
Harlem Stage was to present.
Harlem Stage. Okay. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Harlem Stage.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate being here and being here for all of these excellent ideas. My name is Jordan Carter. I'm the Education and Community Engagement Manager at Harlem Stage. I can't get my video on right now because the Wi-Fi in my apartment is really bad. So I'll just have to give you all an audible experience about what's going on with the Education and Community Engagement Department. So right now, just to give you all an overview, Harlem Stage is 40 years old, and we've served over 400,000 public school children in our time. We target school-age children and young adults who lack easy access to live performances and who attend schools that lack sufficient funding for arts programs. Right now, we are in a multitude of high schools and across the Harlem area, not just high schools, multiple schools. Right now, our main partners are A. Philip Randolph High School, which is literally 2 feet away from Harlem Stage. And just so you know, our address is 150 Convent Avenue. It's the castle-looking building. If you've ever walked past Harlem Stage, a lot of folks don't know where, don't know what it is and whatnot. So just so you know, so we're at A. Philip Randolph High School. We are also at Manhattan Village Academy. We have teaching, and when I say we're at these schools, we have partnerships where we're bringing teaching artists that teach either music, dance, or theater. So just to give you all a rundown, let me slow down a little bit. So at A. Philip Randolph High School, we present about 11 or 12 teaching artists that teach different styles of dance to groups after school. They meet once a week and have a culminating performance. We also have a similar model going on at Washington Heights Expeditionary Learning School. And that's an elementary school, but we are engaging a teaching artist from Camille Brown and Dancers named Ethel Calhoun, who is leading a 16-week workshop with those students, and they will be having a culminating presentation at the end of the residency. I actually just found this in my notes, and I'm the type to forget if I don't attack it right then and there. But I would also like to let everyone know that Harlem Stage has a partnership with Arts Connection. They've given us about $3,000 worth of free tickets to give out to communities who would not necessarily have the opportunity to have access to a performance. So we are definitely looking for groups to work with, to offer, group tickets for free to come see a Harlem Stage performance. We have this opportunity until June. So please reach out to me if your organization or of some of a similar organization, a group of folks that would like to engage with Harlem Stage, please let me know. I have my email address in the chat. Walter, you raised your hand.
Yes, I'll wait till you finish.
What'd you say?
I'll wait till you finich your production. I mean,
okay, all good, absolutely. So moving on, we have a partnership with Lower Manhattan Community Middle School. We are presenting Michaela Lerman, who is also a performer on Harlem Stage's season. One of the things that we're trying to get going for sure is having our performers during the season get out into some of our partner schools so they have that arc of engagement when they come to Harlem Stage. It's not just a one-off performance, but they're actually giving back into the community as well. We also are making our way across to East Harlem with the partnership with Exodus Transitional Community. They work with folks in East Harlem who have been involved with the justice system. So we are having and they also have an amazing facility there where they can do photo, video production, and also a music studio that is very state of the art, a nice microphone and everything, but they didn't necessarily have someone there to work with the youth and the community members there. So we're bringing in a teaching artist who is an audio engineer and music producer to present a 10-week residency for the 5:30 class that we're doing is for young people, and the 6:30 class that we're doing weekly on Wednesdays is for adults who have been involved with the justice system. So during the residency, participants will create original compositions that speak to the discrimination, prejudice, and violence that disproportionately affect people of color to uplift the people in their community. And we will be using royalty-free music and everything like that. So there won't be any issues with, rights and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what we have going on there. And we are actively looking to expand our reach in terms of the places where we're having our teaching artists to present residencies and build these partnerships out. The Education and Community Engagement Department is fairly, not necessarily new, but I've been in this role for about 6 or 7 months. And prior to me arriving at Harlem Stage, there was an arts and education consultant working closely with Harlem Stage, putting together a strategic plan that we are currently enacting, that I am currently implementing right now. And we are definitely, seeking all types of partnerships, all areas of cross collaboration. So if this presentation seems to strike a light bulb in your mind, please reach out to me so we can get something off the ground. I am open and ready and willing to put my mind with yours to create something excellent. So that concludes my presentation, and I'll go to Walter.
Oh, thank you very much, John Jordan. You said
you on mute, Daria? You trying to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Jordan, can you tell me what your title is before Walter starts? Sorry.
Education and Community Engagement Manager.
Okay, thank you.
Gotcha.
Go ahead, Walter. Sorry.
That's okay. Perfect person. Carlton and I are co-chairs of the Senior Issues group. WHDC is funding trips and taking suggestions on where seniors can go. So if you could, I don't know how many tickets you can spare. And this is just right now, this is just the initial stages, but like just say you have like 100 tickets for a production that you can give out for free. I can relay that information to WHTC and we can get some seniors to come that live in the neighborhood. So
that is music to my ears.
Yeah.
I
You're
love
the right person too. I just like your title. What you said your title, let's end up for sure. I'll leave my information in the chat as well.
Oh, you just muted yourself.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'll leave my information in the chat as well.
Perfect. Expect an email from me tomorrow or later probably tomorrow.
And it's right here, so we don't need to get buses or nothing. The seniors can come on the 101 or the 100 and come on down.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Another option is Morningside Gardens has a retirement organization that serves retirees in the community. So if you give me your information, or I'll give you my information, and you can contact them. I don't have the number on the top of my head, but I can find it.
That's excellent. I'll send you my email in a separate message right now.
And Jordan, if you could also blast to the community and to this committee as well.
Awesome.
Or when you have tickets and things. Jay.
Yeah. Jordan, I just wanted to say what you're doing sounds amazing. And one of the things that I really love doing is teaching young people how to use augmented reality to express themselves, because our platform is no code, so you don't need to be a programmer to do it. And so if you ever wanted to do a workshop to have students learn some augmented reality, I know it's a little bit out there, but let me know, because I love working with young people and showing them that this technology is going to be used more and more in the future. Absolutely. So it's great for students to get involved, because there's things about composing basically a three-dimensional communication that you really only learn by doing it. And so if the students can get some exposure to actually doing that themselves, they're miles ahead of people who have never tried it. And so it's a great thing for them to actually get their hands on and do.
Amazing. This sounds incredibly interesting to me, and I am not saying no to anything at all. I'm definitely have a conversation to see how we can get something like this in our programming for sure. So let's definitely have a conversation as well. I'm going to send you a separate message right now.
Awesome.
Jay and Jordan, if y'all do that, can I come?
Hey, yeah.
I'm so serious. I am dead serious. Like, please, I would love to sit in on a anything augmented reality with the teaching. I love it. I'm 12. Don't mind. Victor.
Yes. Quick question for you, Jordan. I know you said A. Philip Randolph, but have you had any contact with the NYCHA community centers in the area? Manhattanville and Grant have two afternoon, evening community centers for young people in the area. Have you had any contact with them at all?
We haven't had any contact with them at all.
Okay, I can make the introductions for you to the people there. Also, there's a charter school right in the area also that's arts-based that might be a good fit. So I'll get your information and reach out to you.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that.
Okay, no problem.
Were there any more questions for Harlem Stage? Okay, thank you, Jordan. Thank you so much. Jordan, oh yeah, you already put your information in the chat. Amazing. Okay, that is it for our presentations. And our next thing would be, is there any old business? Okay, the next thing is new business. And actually on the agenda, I put Harlem Arts Alliance collab and letter of support request. I resend the letter of support request. What's going on with the Harlem Arts Alliance? As we know, they've been a longstanding force in the Harlem community since COVID, and really a little bit before then. They kind of stopped having the meetings, but especially since COVID, they've been kind of sleeping. They they are coming out of their slumber and would like to have VOSA would like to launch an initiative including all 3 of the Harlem community boards 9, 10, and 11. And he wants us to do something together. He wants to create an event that would unify Harlem, basically, and with input from all of our Harlem-based organizations, our Harlem-based community boards, and other Harlem-based organizations. Gaidi, this is the part that I was talking about for you, because there's going to be a meeting on April 24th. I'm not sure if it's a closed meeting or what, but I don't think it's that closed. I can definitely put you in touch or find out for you and find out for every organization on here, everyone on here. There's going to be a meeting on April the 24th from 10 to noon to discuss this, and the community boards will be present. Some other organizations will be present. I need to find out from him whether space is limited or how that goes. But he just wants to start a conversation with us and about how we feel about doing a collaboration. One of the ideas had been Jazzmobile, when they started, actually were on the back of a flatbed truck, and they had local artists on the back of the truck, and they would, in the summertime, they would so it was like a moving stage, and they would take it and set up in different neighborhoods in the warm months and have professional musicians on stage on this back of this truck, doing arts around town, around Harlem. That was one of the things that had been possibly suggested, but totally open to thoughts and input from the community. And again, particularly, he wanted to bring together the community boards along with the artists and arts organizations. So that's all I know for now. But that's all, like, in terms of details that I know for now. But are there any questions at all?
Yeah, I would be interested in anything that has to do with that, because that could help us, because we're trying to really get the same kind of thing going with as many of the community groups as possible. So just let us know what we can do or how we might participate, and we'll take it from there. Thank you.
Okay. I think that would be a great fit for what you're doing. Yeah. Juan?
I just, I feel very sad about St. Nick's Pub being gone. I wonder if you guys could research that venue. It existed on 149th and St. Nicholas Avenue, and it was one of the most beloved jazz places. And it got closed down, and then the building caught fire. But I'm sure everybody in the community has videos, and they will send you the videos if your project is going. And I would see beautiful thing. I mean, you will see, even if you go online, I'm sure you will find videos of the place. So it was a beautiful small venue for jazz artists. I remember that's where I met Melvin Vines, who's an amazing trumpet player. You should look him up also. Amazing stuff.
So that you're talking about for Gaidi's project.
Yeah, okay. If that could be added to it. I mean, if you walk around, jazz has been played all over this area. if you were to put the music and connect it to the people, oh, that would be such an amazing experience.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Juan. Victor.
Yes, I just want to piggyback on what Juan said. Dakota Pippin was working on a so-called documentary on the club. And I spent a lot of time there myself, the pub. A lot of great people have come through there. I mean, one of my favorite vocal artists today, Gregory Porter, a singer, started
every Thursday, or was
yes.
it Thursday?
Yes, and then he moved on to Smoke and play there. But the history, as Juan was saying, is incredible. And like I said, Dakota Pippin, who, as you know, runs jazz in the city, was looking to do a documentary. He spoke to me about that, a couple of months back. So that maybe that's a collaborative effort that could be done between Gaidi and Dakota. I don't know how far Dakota's got with it, but great thoughts, Juan. Excellent place. Thank you.
I remember in my 30s and whatnot, and going to St. Nick's Pub on Monday nights. Yep. And I was like, how do people go to work after this, man?
We drag ourselves away. That's how we did it. Yes. Thanks.
Yeah, that is St. Nick's Pub would be definitely a good place to add. But in terms of the meeting that's going to happen, in terms of the meeting, it's going to happen on April the 24th. I will keep the committee informed if it's going to be open or whatever. Gaidi, I will definitely put you in touch. Anyone else that would like to be kept abreast of that, please send an email to, well, like I said, send it to all three, but send it to cb9arts@yahoo.com. But please also CC both co-chairs. Gaidi?
I was just gonna San Diego is in the final two championship game in a few minutes. I'm gonna go because the whole city's going crazy about it.
Okay. Well,
they're playing a New York team, so they're playing a New York team, so actually Connecticut, close
Connecticut,
enough.
Yeah. Connecticut, so yeah.
But Gaidi, you have our contact info. Thank you so much.
All right, take care. Bye now.
And with that said, actually, everyone, is there anything else? Any more new business?
Jordan, can you please give me a phone number? I put it in the chat and I didn't get a response.
Anyone that needs the information from the chat, I'm going to keep it on for just a couple minutes. But other than that, in the absence of any more business, we just, the only thing in order would be a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned by the Honorable Tina Lumley and seconded by the Honorable Walter Alexander, and we are out of here, 8:08 p.m. We're adjourned. Thank you so much.
Jordan,
Thank you, everybody.
Jordan?
We meet every Monday, first Monday,
he left.
6:30.
Oh,
Come back and see us.
Bye.
Okay. I think Jordan, he's muted. He must be doing something else. All right, I'll email him. I'll email him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, his phone number isn't on there. So I'll leave up the chat for.
I'm leaving. That's okay. I'll email him. Thank you very much. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Ewan and Carlton, are y'all still looking at the chat? Jordan, is anybody still looking at the chat? Okay, I'm going to end the meeting. Good night, everybody.